expressing that was a deep thought. A lot of thought went into it, and consideration of whether or not you were gonna put that in the book.
I think ultimately, the book, people thought I was going to write a tell-all.
Yeah.
And in fact, I did a lot of going around. We did the dance. They wanted to be Eat, Pray, Love. They wanted to be some soul-searching kind of redemptive kind of story. And I said, no, it will be that, but it's going to have several other things, because I'm not just one pony, one trick pony. Yeah. I've had a life before the show, and now since I've had this opportunity, I think it's important that my fans at the world that I was introduced in such a negative way. I think it's important that they see that I was a child in a bathtub. I was born. I do walk upright, and that I don't have a tail or horns. And maybe track me from 1972 to really get an understanding of who the real Isaiah Washington is, and is still evolving to be. And then, make your decision then, because I really felt that at that time, and I understood exactly why. I understood the rage. I understood how things were misconstrued. I understood the agendas. The thing that I just felt that was really difficult to hold on to is that I was being tried and convicted in the media without really giving an opportunity to have a say. And whatever say I had was written by other PR people. Yeah. So this is hopefully my offering, this not just to set the record straight, but just really let you know what makes me tick and why.
Okay. Talking about what makes you tick, when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit about the connection between your childhood and where you are now, and also find out about your time in Sierra Leone. Mm-hmm. All right. We'll be right back on Hip Hop Connection. Back here on Hip Hop Connection with Isaiah Washington. Let's talk about, what do you think happened in your childhood that led you to where you are right now?
Well, it's twofold. One, at the age of 13, I had the unfortunate opportunity to find out that my biological father had been murdered after a domestic dispute on television, in a commercial, live at 5 in Houston on Channel 13. When Live at 5 had just started, 1976. And as that teaser went off, Good Times came back on. And then after that, I watched the Beverly Hillbillies, and then that teaser came on, and then Good Times came on. And it was at that point that I had decided that I had enough of this man who was very abusive. I had had enough of this name, Isaiah Washington, that was now blasted all over. God knows how many people were watching in Houston, Texas, on this television. I decided that I had enough of that name being used in this way. And somewhere deep inside, I decided that I'm going to take this name and I'm going to make good on it. Okay. I'm going to do whatever I can to meet this Ken Norton or this John Amos, and I'm going to find out how to be strong and be a strong father image, a better father than my father. It's almost like at that moment, although I loved him, I hated him. Mm-hmm. Because I had to carry this name, and it was just unbelievably embarrassing. So a lot of everything that I've done and started was really about me trying to create a name for myself. And ultimately, that's what my big battle was with ABC and the world, is that you can take it all back. You can take the money, you can take the fame, you can take whatever it is, because that doesn't belong to me. But since I have this name, you can't have that. And you certainly can't have it because you took my original name when my ancestors were brought over here on the slave ship. So you can't have both. So my fight, genetically, spiritually, emotionally, was really simply about my name and how I made a pledge to myself at 13 that the next time this name comes out of the television, it's going to be positive, right, not negative. So when people really look at, well, why won't he shut up? He's killing himself. He's drowning. He'll never work again. He'll die. It's over. It wasn't that I didn't care, that I was reckless. It was that once you read my book, you understand that, ironically, the reason I am who I am, the reason why I ended up on television anyway, I think, is that I was trying to be the best human being I could be and make good on my name, and my father didn't. So when all that began to change, I was destroyed. I was like, how can this happen? You know, how can I end up like my father? How can this name end up on the lips of everyone in a negative, when I've made my pledge to become a football player or astronaut or whatever? Now I end up as an actor to make good on my name. So yeah, but I talk about that in great detail.
Cool. Your trip to Sierra Leone. What was the aha moment for you when you were in Sierra Leone?
The first trip?
Yes.
Well, I did research on the country for about 8 months. And when I went there, I knew that, I talk about it in the book, is that I didn't want to just show up as a celebrity, bringing myself a lot of attention. I wanted to be able to do something with this. And since I was on the #1 show in America at the time, I wanted to be able to bring some attention and awareness to the specific people.
Okay.
So I put a delegation together that was tailored toward their needs. For example, the child soldiers I know have been ostracized and will wear long sleeves in the heat, could not really be reintegrated into the community because of their keloid tattoos of RUF. So I reached out to a plastic surgeon, Dr. Andre Panosian. And his job was to look out for those individuals and see if we can show them that we're interested in removing that. And then hopefully I can find funding to raise a whole program where specifically a clinic would be designed quietly and anonymously, where these individuals could come in through a secret door, unbeknownst to anyone else, to have these tattoos removed so they can be reintegrated as young adults. That was one. The other one is I brought an architect, Brett F. Washington from Smith Group, so he can make an assessment of the structures, the building, the infrastructure, before we decided to build a school, so I can bring back an assessment on what kind of structures need to be addressed. And then a human rights attorney, Crispian Kirk, at the time was working with the NAACP when Bruce Gordon was at the helm. Bruce Gordon recommended that he would come so he can do an assessment on human rights issues. And then I brought my security person, my friend, longtime friend, who worked for the Justice Department, to do an assessment of where we would be in Kono, Kwaidu, Pumanjan, or whatever area in Freetown, Bo. Is it safe? Do we need to carry weapons, or can I just go in clean?
Right.
I brought him so he could do the research and assessment on that and come back to support whatever the CI report was. And then I brought an actual local Sierra Leonean who worked for the Corporate Council of Africa at the time, so she can journal everything that we're seeing. And I brought a camera crew. And it was all to just do a moving think tank in 12 days. And so I could bring in a report because I already knew that I was going to come back and lobby on Capitol Hill. But the aha moment is when I got there, I asked 5 questions. And the same question I asked was, if you could change 5 things in this country, what would it be? And the first thing always was corruption. The second thing was education. The third thing was cleanliness and clean water. The fourth thing was eradicating malaria. And the fifth thing was job creation.
Okay.
So that pretty much was my mandate early on. As soon as I hit the ground, that I knew that somehow I was going to be a part of those 5 things to try to rebrand the country. And I've been doing that ever since.
Wow. The thing that I find most interesting about that is that you wanted to go and do something. You weren't just going for yourself to see